Hello, YouTube. Welcome to episode 12 of Operation Laythe. I am Southern Wolverine, and I'm here with Corbas Kerman, who absolutely loves it in his interplanetary transfer vehicle. I love his little dance there. Alright, so we are going to get ready to send this bad boy all the way out to Duna. Alright, so first we got to start off by go ahead and activate all these various engines. We're going to do this manually just because we don't really want to spend the time fixing the stages. And we should have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active engines. Okay, very good, very good. Alright, so that having been done, we're going to quick save so nothing stupid happens. And we're going to look out to where Duna is. Okay, so we want to fast forward for a while. So we want to be about 90 degrees behind Duna. Oh, I can't fast forward any faster than this. Okay, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go back to the Space Center. And from there, I should be able to fast forward as fast as I damn well please. Here we go. Oh no, I can't fast forward there at all. Okay, okay. Here's what we're gonna do. New plan. New plan. Keep forgetting about this. If we put a vehicle on the launch pad, oh, any old thing. Oh, whatever. Put that out on the launch pad. We can sit at it, and since it's not moving, we should be able to fast forward all we want. Because we don't want to wait forever for this thing to get into position. Alright, here we go. Let's try this now. There we go. Okay. So we're just going to keep, rotate this to keep Duna kind of at the top of the screen. And wait until we're about 90 degrees. So, okay, about there. Should be able to work with that. Now, we will switch vehicles over to our Duna vehicle. Ha! Fooled you, system. Okay. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to exit Kerbal, pretty much going in the direction of Kerbal's orbit. So we're zooming out, so we want to go in that general direction. So we're going to want to burn about here. See what our escape burn looks like. Something like that. Alright, how close does that get us to Duna? Here, let's go ahead and set it as a target. We're slightly off on the inclination if we do that. Okay. If we're really lucky, we'll get an encounter here. Nope, no such luck. Alright, so that's our closest approach. Let's see what happens if we speed that up. Is that going to get better? Not really. Alright, so let's, well, I think what I'll do is I'll just get into orbit here. And we'll intentionally come a little bit short of Duna. Because I think we're a little bit late in the launch here, which is why we're coming up way behind it. So if I stay below it, we should go faster than it is. And I can do a burn somewhere along here to get an intercept. So that's what we're going to go for. Alright. Oh, here, I got to zoom in on the map. I'm trying to get something that looks like this. Oh, okay, so we only have a minute before this burn starts. Alright, so we might end up doing this in cycles. And that will make sense when I show you what I mean. So we're just going to go ahead and start this burn to give us a calculation. Okay, it says 4 minutes. Almost 5 minutes. That's actually not that bad. I've had burns like this on interplanetary missions. Ooh, look at that wobbling at that joint. Let's put the fine controls on so we don't get that happening anymore. Ooh, and we're going to keep a real careful eye on this overheating too. Now that should settle down, even though we're at max throttle with these engines. with these clusters of 2, it should not go to full overheat, but I'm going to back off the throttle just a little bit, just to be sure. Okay, so I can run right at about 90% without having to worry about overheat, it looks like. Alright, so that's going to start to elongate this. And I think what I'll end up doing is I started burning at about a minute, T-minus 1 minute, so I'll burn to about T-plus 1 minute, and then I'll complete this maneuver on the loop around. That should end up in actually a more efficient burn. There we go. We are on our way, sort of. We're beginning to be on our way anyway. Just want to make sure we're not drawing fuel from this lower stage. We shouldn't be, okay. Just in case, I'm going to go ahead and disable the cross feed here. We should be feeding from this tank, which is exactly what's happening. So far so good. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so we're going to cut this burn in about 10 seconds and get ready for part 2 of the burn on the wraparound. There we go. Alright, so we'll call that. So we'll begin our burn on this next loop about a minute and, 25, 24 seconds before we reach the node. So we're actually going to make this jump in just 2 steps, which isn't half bad actually. I've done occasional on these orbital transfer burns. Let's see, we want 592 meters per second here. I'm actually going to reestablish this burn. And what did I say it was? About 290. No, there we go. 590-ish. So we were right about there. And that'll give us about the same burn time that I had before, so that's good. And yeah, that's right about where we want it. And then we'll have to, once we get into interplanetary space, we'll plot our correction burn. Alright, Corbas, still loving it. He's excited. He can't wait to go to Duna. Wants to be the first to collect those red rocks and make a red sandcastle and all that fun stuff. Oh, and you know all the science and such too. Whatever. Kerbans like science. Alright, here we go, getting set up for the next stage, wherein we will bid Kerbal farewell for the time being, and shoot off, not into the stars, but, say, into the planets. And head off into the stars, that might be a whole other game. That, certainly the game isn't going to support it now. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. I'm second guessing my launch time. Yeah, minute and 25 or so I'll burn. And go. Right around 90%. There we go. Now it seems like we're way before the node, but you know, that's just how it goes. We're moving quite fast, so we're actually closing in on it pretty quick. See, we're going over 2.5 kilometers per second. And I think Kerbal escape is a little over 3,000, or right around 3,000. So we will end up there and be in pretty good shape. We're coming, Duna. These struts do sort of spoil the look of the ship a little bit. But the last thing I want is to be firing these engines and have these getting wobbly. Really, these probably don't even have high enough thrust to do that to me. But, still, I like to play it safe. Oh boy, that tank's running dry already. Of course, that's less than a quarter of my fuel for this stage. Yeah, see now these are just sipping it, because they only have 2 engines drawing off each of these tanks, where I had all 6 engines drawing off of that tank previously. Okay, what's our ascending look like? Alright. 0.1. We might do a correction, we might not bother. Depending on if we're lucky and our transfer correction burn ends up in this vicinity, we can take out that, inclination difference at the same time. In which case we basically get the inclination change for free. Alright, so I think it's fitting that our mission to another planet begins on a day when the discovery of some 700 exoplanets has been announced. Thanks to the Kepler Space Telescope or something like that they've been analyzing the data, and they've announced that they found some 700 planets around other stars. That's nearly doubles the amount of planets rather that had previously been proven or demonstrated that they were there. So now that leaves something like 1,700, 1,800 known extrasolar planets. Pretty cool stuff. Everything from super Earths to hot Jupiters to some rocky planets, even just 2.5 times Earth size, which I realize sound quite big, but of course that doesn't mean there aren't smaller planets out there. It simply means that they are harder to detect than the large ones. So, kind of an interesting thing. And you figure some of those have to have oxygen, and there's thousands more suspected from the observations. They just haven't been demonstrated yet. So it's pretty cool when you think about how many there are, and it proves that there are multiple, or it's fairly common, at least in the Milky Way, for there to be multiple planets around a single star, much like our own system and much like the Kerbal system, which science fiction has long suspected, simply for the reason that, well, it makes science fiction a lot easier. Because then there's lots of planets, you have all sorts of possibilities. Oh, come on now. I just want to plot a transfer. Get out of my way. So we're just going to pull this out a ways and start fiddling with it, see what kind of interception we can get. Yeah, okay, so our intercept's probably going to be up here, which means we're not going to get that inclination correction burn for free. So we might actually have to almost burn right at our apoapsis, which unfortunately is the least efficient place to do a burn. So that's where your velocity is the slowest. Okay. So that's getting halfway decent there. Keep tugging on it. See if we can get an actual encounter. Oop, there we had one for just a second. There we go. Alright. I'll take that. It's not a super close encounter. 17 million meters. But we'll take that burn, get our encounter, and then we can do corrections. So as we see, it's 68 days. 68 days to our next maneuver. So that being the case, we've got our solar panels to keep this thing running. So what we're going to do, let's temporarily turn on the ship lights, and we're going to let Corbas get out. This is by no means necessary, it just feels like the thing to do. We're going to let him get out, head out to the hitchhiker module, so that he can travel in style. So let's get a look around this hitchhiker module. See, they got all their drawers and things labeled. Personally, this is my favorite. Space! This way to space! As if we didn't know what this big scary door was. So we've got space for trash, refuse, and rubbish, as well as junk. We've got boxes, helpfully labeled food and not food. And that's where you're supposed to keep your laundry, your board games. Can't tell what that one says. Toothbrushes. Apparently we need a lot of toothbrushes for this trip. And more science. That's where the science goes. I think there's a drawer that we can't see at the moment labeled science. So in any case, he's comfortably set in there where he has a little bit of space. He's got all his amenities, his space toilet and such. And we're going to leave him there to wait out this long transfer to the next burn. Oh, which I have lost because I went to the freaking EVA, so I have to reestablish the burn. Damn it! Damn it, sir! Okay, somewhere around here, I think. Come on. Oh, it's not set as the target anymore. That's part of the problem. There we go. Here, can I do that with less burn? There we go. Alright. Well, that made it worse. Alright, well, either way, we're going to have to do a correction burn. That's something like what we had, so we're just going to go with it. And 68 days, 16 hours or so to our next maneuver. It's time for some hardcore fast forwarding. As fast as it'll go. 100,000 times normal speed. And of course, this is the stage of an actual interplanetary space flight that is potentially the most dangerous for any human astronauts, at least, heading to someplace like Mars, for which Duna is an analog, wherein you would encounter, far more radiation than you would encounter on the Earth itself. On the Earth, our magnetosphere protects us, as well as the atmosphere, which is far thicker than that of the Mars. But out here in interplanetary space, you have solar radiation, you have the galactic background radiation, cosmic rays, that just in the couple months it would take you to get out to Mars would give you the equivalent of, I don't know, 24 CAT scans or something like that. More radiation than, a nuclear plant worker is allowed to take in a year. It's not something to ignore. So we have to bring along radiation shielding or something, at least for the areas that the crew normally populates, or perhaps in their clothing or something. I don't know what it is that you would do. But that's one of the things that makes an interplanetary mission difficult. Perhaps the Kerbans have already solved this problem. I hate to think that they simply don't care. It could also be that thanks to their green coloration, and they have a special affinity for outer space, and they are simply hardened against radiation. That's what we'll go with. We simply don't have to worry about it. Kerbans are not endangered by interstellar radiation. Alright, so that's close enough to our node. Let's just go ahead and do our burn. So now we're firing up to full power under the command of our unmanned capsule, because we still have Corbas in his hitchhiker module. He'll be perfectly happy there. Well, that's right, I don't want to throttle to full, I don't want to overheat. See, if these were on just single engines on these pods, I could probably light them up to full and not have any trouble. But because they're sitting right next to each other, they are heating each other up. Something we just have to keep an eye on. Yeah, so these burns change really slowly. So I think I will go ahead and cut this burn out and come back when we have completed it. I'll see you in just a moment. Alright, and we're back, having completed that burn. And let's see where that left us. So it's showing a 30 million meter Duna periapsis. So let's just experiment with this. Do a little bit of a tiny bit of a burn, see if it gets better or worse. Oh, it's getting better, so I'm going to just burn a little bit until this stops getting better. And at that point we can attempt to refine it as we get closer. Alright, still getting better. I barely got the throttle on here, so we're not using a whole lot of fuel, which is a good thing. Definitely want to save all that we can. Alright, that stopped really helping us, so we're going to leave that be for now. And I think we might try to do a inclination change burn here. As much as I don't really like doing these because they're kind of a waste of energy. I think that part of the reason our periapsis has stopped improving is because we're a little bit below Duna as we're getting there. So we're going to just push on this and ascend. Ooh, there we go. See, that made a difference. Ooh, yeah, okay. So now let's do it at the same time. Just kill a little bit this way and see if we can't drop that down. Because the further away we can do our correction, the more efficient this maneuver is going to be. Nope, that made it worse. We need to speed up a little bit. Oh, maybe not. I think I screwed it up. Okay, that's let's just replot that. Nope, I went the wrong way. Bingo. Okay, and that'll get us down to 2 million meters. Very nice. Okay, so that works for me. That's with only 7.7 meters per second this far away from Duna, we can make quite a bit of a difference in our encounter. Simply by correcting the inclination. Even though it's only 0.1 degree, 0.1 degree over that big of a distance makes a fairly significant difference. Alright, so let's let that settle in and fast forward to our burn, which is even now 10 days away. Yeah, and we don't have to be dead on this. As long as we're reasonably close, it will still serve to correct our inclination. But we might as well get as close to it as we can. So, whoop, oh, I passed it. I passed it by almost an hour. Alright, that should be fine still. And there we go. Alright. Okay. Whoa, now it's getting twitchy. Okay. So let's just keep an eye on this. See, we are passing behind it, I think, so it's kicking this up into this higher orbit. But that's good. That's what we want to do. We want, just like with the moon and with Minmus, we want to come in behind it so that our relative velocity to Duna will be lower as we're making our approach, thus making it easier to make our entry burn. It looks like that's changing the inclination, so we're still not quite coming in even on the equator of Duna. So that's why it's kicking us up. So we're probably coming in slightly below it. Still, I'm going to see if I can't tug on this a little bit. Do another quick correction. Yeah, it's pretty hard to figure out what we're doing here. Here, I'm gonna do a quick save just in case I screw something up, and we're just gonna try to do this. You know what? I'm just gonna forget that. We're just gonna head to Duna, get our encounter, and we can correct once we're in orbit. It's not ideal, but it'll be easier to do this when we don't have to worry about these transfers between the different spheres of influence, which is where the calculations for this game tend to go a little bit wonky on us. All right, as we're getting out here, it occurs to me, well, we might as well do some of our science. Let's go ahead and do one of these material bays. High radiation environment. Cause a few samples to go. We could paint the rocket with this. Okay. And we'll do one of the mystery goos. The goo feels right at home here. Alright. Fine. Well, okay, we don't want to fast forward past this. That'd be a real tragedy. Alright, so let's see what we got. Alright, so that's what, yeah, we're coming in. Yep, see, there it is. We're coming in below it. Even after all the corrections we made, we're still coming in below it. Alright, so I want to try and do a burn as early as possible to see if we can't do something about that. So we want to roll it up that way, while simultaneously... See, now it's going to get a little weird on us here. Okay. Let's kill that. Come on. Yeah, trying to set up maneuver nodes when you're this far away from the body tends to be a little weird. So let's try doing it this way. We'll pull on this one first, get our periapsis down to something reasonable, and then we'll tug on this and see what it does. Alright, that flattened it out quite a bit. And now we'll try and pull this in some more. We actually got an Ike encounter there. No, alright. I'm trying to do too much at once here, maybe. Alright, we'll do this in stages. We're going to pull this down. Really, we probably could do this in a single maneuver. Just the game has trouble figuring all this stuff out. So we're going to do this in steps. We're going to do this one first, which will help level us out. And then we'll correct this. We really don't want an Ike encounter, I don't think. Although, actually, if we do get that, that'll actually serve to lower our orbit down for us, because it looks like we're going to pass in front of it and chop this orbit down. That might actually work out for us, because that'll get us a nice capture. Let's just try that and see what happens. We might have just gotten lucky here. Alright, I would love to get Corbas out and put him back in the command station, and I'll do it after this burn. If I do it now, I will lose this maneuver that we sort of found totally by accident. Alright, see, so this is a pretty substantial burn. It's basically the opposite burn of what we did to get off of Kerbal. And it's 2 hours away, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward. Alright, positioning this burn's not super critical, but we do want to be, you know, reasonably close to it. So we'll try to fire about 2 minutes prior to the burn. We're going to Duna. There we go. Firing! Firing the engines. Let's see if we can see Duna while we're doing this. There it is, off in the distance. Oh, here. Let's actually do a crew report while we're doing this. Look, there it is. The planet is very red. Appears to have deep brown furrows across the surface. There does appear to be some kind of ice at both poles, though. Let's just go ahead and transmit that data. Since we have this nice communications dish. There we go. Research from high over Duna. And while we're doing this, we can go ahead and burn another one of these. That's, let's see, high in space, high over Duna, really high over Duna. High radiation environment, fun to paint the rocket, okay. Nothing new there. And we'll go ahead and observe the mystery goo also. Goo feels right at home. Alright, nothing terribly new and exciting. And when we get down here, we can do some more. We could even get one. I'm not sure if it's better to do it in low Duna orbit or if we try to get one on a flyby at Ike. I'll just stick to my original plan. I'll get the science around Duna. If we want to, we could send another mission back to do a landing on Ike, which really should be a lot easier because the lander could be a lot smaller. Wouldn't need all the parachutes, wouldn't need nearly as much fuel to get back off the surface. Although the only trick is then you do have to get an encounter with it. So you might have to do a little more burns while you're in Duna orbit. But you still probably come out ahead in the long run in terms of mission simplicity. Or, mission complexity anyway. You wouldn't need as much fuel and all that kind of stuff. Alright, let's do a quick check on our fuel levels. Still have a little over half the fuel in all of these, so that's great news. Especially if we're getting some help from Ike here to get our capture burn, or capture maneuver. That's going to save us a fair bit of fuel, actually. And then we can just do a circularization burn down at this Duna periapsis. We might even be able to do a small burn while we're passing by Ike to get that to be even better. That might be a little bit a little bit aggressive, but whatever. All right, now staying focused. 32, 20, 14. Throttle down. Make this nice and clean. And cut it. Ooh, let's refine this even. Yeah. Nice. So now we got a Duna periapsis on that second round under 200 kilometers. This should work out nicely. Here we come, Duna, wherever you are. There you are. Alright, I'm going to fast forward from here. Just it's a little easier to not to overshoot. Yeah, see, we're coming in at this angle still. Might try to correct that from here in our circularization burn. Or at least reduce it as much as possible. There we go. Are we in low orbit over Duna yet? Crew report. Nope, we're still in high in space over Duna. Okay, so we don't want to do any more science just yet. Reset the experiment, thank you. Alright, let's zoom forward until we're doing our flyby of Ike. Here we go. See, that unfortunate that Ike encounter is kicking us into this, inclination even more than we were. But I think that's worth it. We're still going to probably save fuel in the long run. I mean, let's experiment, see if I can do. I haven't actually done this before. See if I can use this to. Whoop. Oh, if I actually speed up here. Nope, that's not helping us enough to be worth it. I don't think. We'll just let Ike's gravity do its thing. Ooh, it's Ike. Hey, you know what? While we're passing by, we might as well do a crew report from high over Ike. You can't help but like Ike. Ha that's excellent. Anyway, let's transmit that. Awesome. Reference. Anyway, fast forwarding. Okay. There we go. So what we want to try to do, it looks like if we burn right about there, we'll have a chance to kill our inclination as well as circularizing this. So we'll see what it takes to circularize, like that. And we'll pull it, see what we can do to our inclination. Okay. And let's fiddle with this, see if we can't get that to be a little bit more circular while we're at it. No, let's come back out, slow it down a little bit more maybe. Nope, we gotta do something about that. We don't want to enter the atmosphere with this. 128 by 251. Oh. .303 to 164. Well, okay, alright, that'll do for now. No, I forgot to get him into the capsule again. Oh well, not hurting anything. Perfectly capable of flying from the unmanned uh, module. Presumably, Corbas is actually controlling this from his hitchhiker module somehow. He's got a little control joystick and stuff in there so we can command this. Alrighty. Come on, let's settle in right on that node. Fast forwarding, fast forwarding. And let's get our capture. Well, we have capture. Let's get our circularization. All right. Oh, I passed it. I passed it. It's all right. You can still get it. You know, probably. Ooh, Duna. Duna up close. Let's quick do a crew report while this is going on. Oh, we're still high in space over Duna. What the hell? Fine. We won't. Damn, how low is low? Maybe it's like 100 or something. Slowly but surely, getting where we want it to. Fuel check. Yeah, we're now under half fuel in these. Oh, that's making me a little nervous. We should be a lot lighter coming back, both in terms of the transfer vehicle and in terms of the lander. So, I'm like I said, I'm a little bit uncomfortable, but it always takes less fuel to fall back down to Kerbal than it does to come out to Duna. Alright, we're getting there, I promise. Alright, that's looking pretty decent. Let's drop this down, you know, just under 100. Now the atmosphere only starts at 50 kilometers here, so we can actually drop this down lower than we would on Kerbal. We don't want to drop too low though, because that's going to make getting an intercept coming back out with the lander harder. We do want to drop this down as much as possible. And I'm actually going to set up Ike as a target just so I can get an idea of the inclination. Try, because also if we can eliminate this inclination as much as possible, it will make it easier to encounter the spacecraft coming back up from the surface with the lander. Alright, so the point 3, that's going to make it a lot easier. We're not going to eliminate it entirely, but that's fine. And that inclination correction is very cheap in terms of fuel when we do it at the same time as a orbit modification burn. It's a little hard to explain without having all the math out to show you, but just trust me, that's the case. You can look it up if you really want to, or perhaps I'll make an effort to explain it further in a later episode. Alright, let's do this. Bit by bit, a lot of burns to get here. Probably could have been more efficient, but it's a little bit hard to plot these all in one shot. Just with the difficulties of the interface at times and zooming in on your target locations from the map view. Yeah, so this is sort of what we do. And we're just going to end up carrying extra fuel around to try to compensate for that so we can afford to make corrections. That'll be 76 by 75. That's pretty darn good. Oh, and I still got the ship lights on. Oh, that's fine. We got power. All right. There's Ike again. See, Ike looks awful large from Duna. That's because it's got a shorter, or smaller orbital radius than the moon does on Kerbin. So it really is closer. And as you see, it's a lot larger relative to Duna than the moon is to Kerbin. Yeah, actually, while a lot of moons, actually, it's believed that most moons end up tidally locked to their parent body, just like the moon is to Earth. We have a near side of the moon and a far side of the moon, just because the gravitational interaction between the two have caused the moon to basically constantly be facing Earth, and then likewise with the moon and Kerbin. In the case where these um, moons are similar to the mass of the body that they're orbiting, they can actually end up tidally locked to each other, which is kind of an interesting phenomena. Pluto, for example, and its moon Charon, I believe it's pronounced, actually are tidally locked to one another, which means the same sides are always facing one another. So conceivably, if you lived on one side of Pluto, you may not even know that you had a moon, because you'd never see it. That's unlikely to be the case with Duna, though, as it's still significantly larger than Ike. So really, that had nothing to do with anything. That's just me digressing and trying to come up with something to talk about while I'm waiting for this maneuver node to come up. Alright. Quick correction burn here to drop this orbit down. It's not even really a correction burn, it's an orbit modification burn. There we go. Alright, that'll do. That's pretty good. We're in a 75 by 76 kilometer orbit with a inclination of only 0.3 degrees. And here we are, over Duna. So far so good on this mission. Now we should be in low Duna orbit, so we're going to go ahead and observe our materials. 175 science. Well, still the same observation though. Let's see if the mystery goo has anything different for us. Goo feels right at home here. Nope. Alright, whatever. Alright, let's activate the ship lights. Let's go ahead and get Corbas out. Down into the lander. Let's turn on his headlamp. Alright, let go there, buddy. Let's just get you turned around. Alright, whoa. Whew, that was exciting. You change the camera view, it turns your guy's attitude around, and things can get kind of squirrely. Yeah, so I tempt fate by doing it again. No, not my best idea, but we're getting in there. Grab. Yes. Board. Beautiful. Alright. So we're ready to go ahead and go for Duna landing. It sure is big, alright. But I think that will be in the next episode. So once again, I am Southern Wolverine. Corbas and I thank you for watching Operation Laythe. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And this is Southern Wolverine and Corbas Kerman signing off from Duna Orbit.